Poppy. I'm hella mad. You spend all that time recording the song by yourself so you can play it over and over again, trying to get some ASCAP money. So we are live. The vice presidential debate is on and popping. I'm here with Green Party vice presidential candidate Angela Walker. I'm here with two of the four members of Body Farm, Ocean and Erek, and I'm with the touring drummer of Conan Neutron and his secret friends, Jonathan Brown. Jonathan, if you don't turn your shit down, ghetto ass.
Do I got to turn? Oh, well, because okay. I'm in a room where my wife's watching the debate, and so I want to be able to see it. But
I can we'll play it. We can share screens. It's 2020. It's 2020, and I'm paying way too much for this app that allows me to stream on multiple platforms.
Look at you with the technology. All right,
right?
I got live tweet it.
Spending all this money that I don't have.
I'm just over
here. Is anybody excited to see the vice presidential debate?
No. We're watching it. Sorry, I was speaking for myself.
You want to see
reaction to Pence in general? I want to see her slice him. I think it's gonna happen.
So you believe with me that Kamala Harris is gonna go after Mike Pence?
She's gonna destroy him.
I think she's gonna do it her way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's going to be like how Trump is. You know, Trump is just ruthless. He'll go after your friends and family and anyone in your circle. But I think that Kamala is going to be able to point out his career as far as the negative side of it, like the HIV outbreak he was responsible for.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. I think that she'll go about it in a professional way. I don't picture her being nasty about it, but it would be kind of cool if she did get nasty about it.
I'm thinking she's gonna get nasty about it. I'm being real with you. Not nasty. I'm thinking she's gonna get she's gonna get in his ass about some shit. She's gonna get in his ass. Okay, when I do want to say this. When I was God, how old was I? 92. I must have been in the 8th grade or freshman in high school. I think that was the year that Ross Perot ran. And that was the only time I can remember that there was a third party candidate at a debate. Is that the last time that anybody can remember there was a third party candidate?
Because they did a vice presidential debate, and Stockdale was on it. Admiral Stockdale was on it.
You remember that?
I do, because I was in college.
No, you're not that much older than me, are you?
Well, how old are you?
43.
No, I'm 48. So I'm 48.
Oh,
so,
yeah, you old as shit, John.
I am.
You know how you know I'm old? I got gray chest hair.
One.
I'm older than you. I have grandkids.
You do. I don't yet.
It's about to be 7.
Damn.
My daughter's carrying twins.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, double stroller is frightening.
Yeah.
What is okay? I'm gonna switch to the debate in 1 second.
Okay.
I feel like we should just ask Angela questions.
Yes.
I got a live tweet.
Let's ask Angela policy questions. That's way better than whatever the fuck they're asking these clowns.
Got it. I'm really interested to hear, A, what they're gonna talk about, and B, how they're gonna talk about it. I really want to know. It's are you gonna talk about COVID in a substantive way, or y'all gonna, downplay the fact that this individual in the White House is basically walking around without a mask on now and see, I didn't die. Are you going to downplay it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is this what we're going to do? Where are we with Roe v. Wade? Where are we with the environment? Where are we with a federal jobs guarantee for people? Where are we with decriminalizing sex work? Where are we with these things? I need that kind of stuff. And I got a feeling half of it they're not even going to touch.
Yeah. I was going to say we're watching the debate between the Democratic and Republican candidates. So,
what did what was the question? What was the first question, John?
No, I was
Oh, they're
agreeing
talking
with
about
Angela
COVID
that
right now.
we're
They're
not
talking
going
about COVID.
Yeah, we're not going to see
Okay,
any of that stuff.
I'm going to share this screen with
see
you guys because this is 2020. I'm paying hella money for the streaming software that I can't afford. So we finna get some top notch shit right now. We're sharing screens. God damn it! Hold on, my computer's old. Might take a minute. Oh, hey, bam.
We're waiting.
Can you guys hear it?
No.
You can't hear it? Oh, how do I get the what you call it? Oh, nope.
Yeah. I'm switching rooms again. Why are you doing that?
I gotta do some official stuff anyway. It is a pleasure to have met
Oh,
I got to.
You're leaving us?
I have to, because I have to repair. I have to have a response to it afterwards.
Okay.
Been a good opening.
Thank you very much for coming on and hollering at me.
Good meeting y'all.
I'm gonna
Yes,
keep messing
thank
with you as much as I can.
And I'm not running.
Okay. It's good. It was good seeing you again.
Good to see y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Side note, I love Angela Walker. I got to have her on the show a while ago, and she is a real ass motherfucker. And the fact that she's the vice presidential pick for the Green Party, I think it says a lot for that party. Literally trying to like really organize. And her and I talked for probably about 20 minutes before everybody else got on. And I'm trying to convince her to run for like state office in South Carolina, at the very least for a congressional seat. And so I'm trying. I can only try. John, are you guys watching the debate on something else too? Do you have like two screens up and you got the debate going?
We've got my laptop, his laptop.
So I do want to ask the brain trust of heavy music here, right? What do you guys think about Donald Trump doing all these speaking engagements, trying to prove to everybody that he is totally okay?
He looks awful, and I do not think he's okay.
I saw his little thing today. He looked horrid. He looked so bad.
I mean, anytime that he opens his mouth right now, it's almost like he's holding back a cough. You know? Like he just hit the bong and he's like holding it in or something. I don't know. It's just like it's all a facade, and it's really dumb because folks out here like already aren't listening to the statewide mandate for mask wearing, but especially now, I'm probably going to start witnessing less and less people. I think we all will witness less and less people because of him being a dumbass.
Really? It's that bad where you guys are? Word.
I would say that it's like half and half when you go out. Either people are wearing them or they don't want to do it at all, even if they're in like an enclosed space.
It's scary because COVID has finally like crept its way into my personal family, like not in my house, but like close family members have it, and it really is everywhere. Like now I know how cats in New York felt. And I was with my dad earlier today, and he lives out in Vallejo, which is like, kind of a suburb out here. And he was like, people aren't wearing them in the stores and they really can't enforce it. Probably similar to what you're saying. And, John, but you're in Madison, right, Jonathan?
Yeah. Yeah, actually here they actually rolled back some of the I'm trying to get the lighting right around me, and I'm having a terrible time.
It's a wrap. You're just gonna have some shine on the head. That's all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's all right. But they actually rolled back some of the things. So, bars and restaurants were 50%. Now they're 25% as of Friday. But what's interesting is I was at my mom's house in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I'm originally from, and their state Supreme Court struck down all of the mandates that Governor Whitmer has brought on, like throughout the past 6 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Attorney General of Michigan also decided not to enforce any of it. So it's a free-for-all in Michigan right now. So they can do whatever they want. Each municipality, each county, no matter what, they can do what they want now. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out over the next few weeks. Because I know in the Upper Peninsula, where I'm from, which when I was growing up was a very blue area, because we had iron ore mines, so lots of unions.
Mm-hmm.
But is now turned into Trump country.
Mm.
Now, granted, you'll see a Biden sign here and there. You'll see a Democratic down ticket candidate sign here and there. But for the most part, no matter where you go, it's Trump.
Do you think a lot of that, and this question goes to both of you guys, or all three of you guys, do you think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Democratic Party pretty much abandoned the working class throughout the late 70s and 80s?
I wasn't part of the working class in the late 70s and 80s. So I was born in 83. We're 80s babies. So, I'm sure that didn't help. But also we live in very rural areas. There is not another person really around. Your neighbors are way over there, and then their neighbors are way over there. And as you've seen in all the election, it's land voting. It's all a bunch of all red, just land.
Mm-hmm.
It's we were actually just up on the Upper Peninsula, and there was
nice.
there were some. We were outside of Marquette, and there was, because I think we went to like a co-op place, and there was some blue a little bit here and there, but it's really Michigan.
Marquette's the bubble. That's where I'm from, and that's where I was in the Marquette area. Marquette's definitely the bubble in the Upper Peninsula. You have a major hospital, university there as well. Once you kind of leave that bubble, it's you get the real UP. But now it's definitely Trump country, which is crazy to me because it makes sense. Makes sense in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's also crazy because the Upper Peninsula was so solid blue. Maybe until Bush, maybe until W. That's kind of where it started to change a little bit, but they were solid blue when I was growing up there.
What's interesting about where we live too is that we're just outside of Columbus, and that's primarily blue area because we've got the college town. But even then, like on the weekends, if you happen to cruise through town, like you'll see Trump signs in students' front lawns, which is something that I didn't really expect. And those are the same kids that are out front, partying, sharing cups, acting like COVID isn't even going on.
Beer pong.
So I feel like living here, there's like a very stark contrast in the city versus like where we live. But at the same time, I still have this feeling that where we live is like very conservative, not super pumped on either candidate, but I feel like the Trump people around us are like pretty much fanatics because they'll like cover their entire property with signage that all reads Trump. So
flags and on the house, on the car, the hats, the shirts. He's successfully branded people and other people's property.
And isn't that, and that's what I've been trying to say of late. I'm a firm believer that Donald Trump is all about self-promotion just because that's just his thing. That's how he became president. He didn't become president because he had a great idea. And I think he looks at the presidency like he looks at his shitty hotels, like he looked at his horrible casinos, like he looks at anything else. It's just another branding opportunity. I think he's looking at this presidency the 3-dimensional chess that people think he's playing with, faking that he has COVID, and I don't believe he's faking. I think he really is sick. I think he's looking down the road of, okay, I need to sell more of these hats. What's the next pivot after Make America Great? What are we going to say? Is it going to be wall hats? What is it going to be that's going to be my next brand, moving forward? I don't think he wants to be president. I was having a conversation with somebody that I was really hoping was going to come on last night. So thank you guys again. I can't thank you guys enough for spending time hanging out with me. And we were both having this conversation about the fact that we both were in agreement that we didn't think that Donald Trump wants to be president anymore. I think he's finding his out with all this bullshit that you see him, Joe Biden, talking about Joe Biden's a communist and this motherfucker done set him up. He went on some Twitter rampage talking about, look, the proof is right there. This motherfucker done told me that motherfucker set me up. And he's giving his out so he can go on his lecture tour, so he can go have a ghostwriter come in and write a book about why he got robbed for his second term. That's what I see. What do you guys think?
I don't know if he actually genuinely thought he was going to win in the first place. I feel like the campaign itself in 2016 was just one big advertisement opportunity and to get his name in the paper again,
Mm-hmm.
Since he didn't have The Apprentice doing that for him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my personal take on like what he's been saying lately, especially with what he announced today regarding these relief package that was supposed to happen. Like, I'm thinking that he thinks he might win, but I don't know. He's such a loose cannon.
I totally agree. I don't think he was going to win. In fact, even I remember in 2016 when just before he did his acceptance speech, he looked like he was sick to his stomach. I don't think he really. Seriously, he looked like he didn't want to be there. If you go back and look at I don't think he had any idea that he was going to win, and I don't think it mattered. I think he wanted to win, but I don't think he wanted to be president.
He doesn't want to be a loser.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be president.
But ultimately, when that happened, then he had to come up with, then he had to try and come up with stuff, and that's why at the beginning of his presidency it was so stilted, and nothing happened because he didn't have a plan. He didn't think he was going to be president, so why have a plan? I'm gonna start my my news channel and all the other things. Because I know the big thing was the news channel he wanted to start. In fact, I always thought that OANN was supposed to be the pivot when he lost. That he was gonna head that, buy that, and head that up.
That's deep. I think I said this before on air. I thought OAN was the Onion.
Yeah,
I didn't think that shit was real. And then one day I was like, oh, that shit's real? Y'all hoes is real? Okay, well then, fuck me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. That's interesting that you say that. I do think, and I could hella see that being the pivot, is being Donald Trump gets into having his Donald Trump ass news, because all these other philanthropists have news, right? Ted Turner kind of kicked it all off. I could see him having some real fucked up shit, Trump news, pro wrestling all the time, XFL, some weird basketball league where there's just a white dude with a bat that just hits black guys in the knees.
But I'm glad he'd have black guys in the league, though. I appreciate that.
Like somebody like that'll be the whole Democratic it's diverse. It's a diverse league.
Trump's basketball league would be like in the 60s, 3 at home and 2 on the road. That's it. That's all you get. Nope. No more than 3. No. 3 at home, 2 on the road.
You're gonna come here with all 5 black guys, huh? You're in violation of league diversity rules.
Terrible.
The only
Terrible.
basketball league where black is going to have like a height requirement. You can't have more than a 5'10" black guy. Oh shit!
Then you can have one extra that doesn't play, but he cuts hair.
Oh,
So that's what
you gotta have him though.
Gotta have the guy that cuts hair.
You know, to speak on my black ignorance, when we toured Brazil,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, a lot of these black guys here have fresh ass haircuts. And then it took me a while. I was like, oh, because they're black too. I was like, oh fuck, barbershops out here is no joke. Motherfuckers is getting faded right. All right, let's go cut
right.
to some. I'm gonna go share the screen.
Yeah.
Because it's 2020. We're sharing screens in this bitch. And you guys can't hear anything when I share the screen though. Oh, you know why? Because I'm not sharing the audio. Bam. Now you're getting it all. Here you go. Audio. Where don't we hear anything? Oh, gotta press play.
Man, I have noticed that the little that I've been hearing is Pence deferring to Trump constantly. Are you seeing the same thing? Are you guys?
I actually just watched Today Explained, or we did, or listened to it. I mean, about Mike Pence specifically, and like his meteoric rise to accidentally becoming vice president. And so it was kind of interesting, you know, being from Indiana. I mean, I'm not from Indiana, but him being from Indiana and being a radio DJ. He did his own radio show for a while, and
wow.
And then
what was that like? I wonder.
Oh, so I think they're talking about the Muslim ban, or are they talking about China and COVID?
He's Pence is saying something nice to Kamala about how historic her nomination is. Well, that's nice. I don't get this. I don't get the point of this debate, honestly. I mean, I know it's what you have to do, you know, but I don't think we're going to learn anything out of this debate. I don't think Pence will. I don't think Pence is going to go too low. I don't think Kamala is going to go too low. You know.
That I've been hearing a lot recently too, like, and seeing online, is that people just want to know what their platform is. They just want to know what Joe and Kamala are going to do.
You just called Joe Biden a plagiarist.
For exactly, besides like just what they've already stated. Like, I just want to know what the plan is.
The plan is to not beat Trump.
Yeah, the Democratic Party plan is like, we're not Trump, and the Trump.
The people that the people already are going to vote for Biden, but who is going to, like, if it's not Trump or Biden, and that's their only thing, is then just don't vote. Then they just won't vote because they don't want either. That's the only thing he's got, is that I'm not Trump.
Yeah,
it's people just won't vote for it. Won't vote at all.
I'm gonna go to because Kamala is about to start getting in that ass. Screen share's coming. Here's coming. Oh, here it comes.
Are you, because right now he's talking about how honest Joe is.
No, listen to this one. Watch this one.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, gave him the hand. Oh, come on, bitch. Thanks.
Oh, he's going back to the whole like Biden 47 years, which yeah, we know who the guy is. we
It's hard for me to watch this shit because there's always this thing with the Republican Party because they're the party in office as this shit is going down. I feel like the Republican Party is kind of staying true to this whole like, hey man, we're really sad that people died, but we've done a great job at what we've done. That's like exactly how they're talking. Like, look, I don't know why you guys are complaining. Everyone said that there's going to be like 1 million trillion people dead and only 200,000. So that's a lot less than 1 million trillion. Ergo, winner. It's frustrating as hell to kind of see them keep doing this. And I see Kamala. I think I'm a little bit before you guys on the thing I'm watching because Democracy Now! Is running the stream uninterrupted or running the thing uninterrupted. Hold on. They're asking Pence right now about why he ain't got COVID. Hold on.
Because Mama won't let him.
He said, because the lady was like, weren't you at the garden party where all them motherfuckers was hugging and shit, and they was getting just rubbing COVID all over each other? Wasn't you there too, getting COVID rubbed all on you?
I just think it's a matter of time before they announce that he has it. And that's one of the reasons why some people that I saw online were concerned that they were even going to be sharing the same space. Because they were like, well, what if Kamala gets it from being exposed to Mike? And then she gives that to Biden. So, like, isn't it like a 14-day incubation period that can possibly happen for you?
Oh, yeah.
And he's not doing shit. It's so insane. Because you know what I think is going to happen? We already saw Herman Cain die. Yeah. And the Republican Party acted like, like he became the most disposable brother alive. Like motherfuckers in the hood was like, damn, bro, they care more about me than you, and that's not saying much. Like, what's gonna happen? And I know Chris Christie's a tool, and a lot of people hate him. I am not a fan. What's gonna happen if he gets it? Because apparently he's in like intensive care.
Yeah.
Who is it going to get serious for these cats to be like, there's a problem here?
Yeah. It's going to happen to somebody.
Man. Got like 30 people in the White House, 18 actual cabinet people.
Yeah.
That have COVID.
It's like all all the highest levels in the Pentagon, they all have it.
I saw that they're all in,
yeah.
Like
somebody is going, like you said, somebody's going to end up in intensive care.
I wish I had the book. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Jonathan. No. I wish I had the book on me. He's just agreed to come on the show, and we're just working on a date to get him in. But this guy named Andres Malm, he's a professor in I think Helsinki. Anyway, he wrote this book called Climate, Corona, and Chronic Emergency, and it's kind of this really amazing perspective on what's wrong from an environmental standpoint, that even if you got a vaccine tomorrow, you're going to get more coronaviruses and they're probably going to get exponentially worse. And like how the most tepid reforms you were going to get from a global perspective were going to be from Bernie and Jeremy Corbyn. Some of the biggest reforms we got came when Lula was the head in Brazil, right? Yeah. Because he was like, you got to stop fucking up the Amazon. There's people living there, and you're fucking up the whole environment when you do that. Yeah. Stop. There's no more logging. He leaves. Rousseff got ousted. Dilma. They rolled back all those regulations when Michelle Temer came into office, and now they're rolling them back even more with Bolsonaro. Like, that's a real big problem. Evo Morales getting ousted out of Bolivia. Like, that's a real big problem because these guys are actually trying to protect, what do they call the Amazon? The lungs of the earth.
Yeah.
and us as westernized nations. And I'm a victim. I'm a problem. I eat meat. I'm trying to stop. I'm not perfect. Because a lot of this shit is coming from not here. And even the people that don't eat meat, soy is a problem. Chocolate is a problem. Coffee is a problem. And, you know, I'm excited to get this brother on the show, but, you know, just to think that whatever Bernie and Jeremy Corbyn were going to do was going to be like a little bit better. And now we got a dude in the White House right now. It's like, look, man, this Green New Deal bullshit is horrible. Like, what kind of toxic Avenger world do you want us to live in? Like, this shit is. Uh-oh, are they saying some shit? Is it time to share the screen?
Speaking, and then she just stopped him.
Okay.
But then he's talking anyway. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Kamala just like, hey, I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are way behind me. You got to go to the Democracy Now stream.
I'm on the Democracy Now one.
Oh, you do? I'm
Yeah,
watching CNN. I'm just whatever I can get on my cell phone, so at least I can hear it.
Like NPR one if I can. You know, I don't want to be on the CNN one if I can help it. But I went to the Democracy Now. I thought we'd be on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Live streaming us watching it.
Mike Pence is over here talking about how. Can you guys see this shared screen?
No, I'm not seeing your screen at all. Yeah. I'm seeing all of us.
Oh, you can't see the screen?
So, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can. Sorry. Oh, you know why?
President of the United States.
That's why.
Not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think the American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry,
of what we have done.
Shut up, Mike.
And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President.
undermining
Shut up,
confidence in the
Mike.
vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud, and she must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and Black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners, to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second Black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released the sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Yes.
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their President, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions.
What does that have to do with anything?
And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clear.
I want to give
All right, you're done. You're done.
Respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information?
I'm glad you got all that out.
Candidates, and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge.
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has
Get his
been
ass, Kamala.
so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president is not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president who's a businessman. He's a job creator.
Wow.
He's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes.
Wow.
Payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
and
President.
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulations,
Thank you, Vice President.
energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good segue into our third topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, Blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs.
Did they go to the Chicago
Would
school?
raising
Are they
taxes
fans
put the
of Milton
recovery
Freeman?
at risk? And you have 2
Freeman.
minutes to answer uninterrupted.
If so, fuck them.
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental
Do they know
difference
Steve Albini?
between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy.
I mean, we're all
based on
musicians.
the health and the strength of the
We
American
are all
worker.
musicians here. I'm surprised we all don't know each other.
On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill
That's kind of
benefiting
how
the top
both
1%
parties
and the biggest
measure the
corporations of
economy.
America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for.
I would have loved to.
On day one, Joe Biden
Stage.
will repeal that tax bill.
Dude,
He'll get rid of it.
Angela,
And what he'll do with the money is invest it
hold
in
on,
the
let's-
American
we've seen
people.
enough. We've
And
seen
through a
enough.
plan that is about investing in
Kamala.
infrastructure, something that Donald said he would do. I remember hearing about some.
Man, if we could have had Angela fucking here, that would have been awesome. I get, you know, she's important and shit, and she got all her tens of thousands of followers, and she's got a live tweet. Like, I get it, and I'm actually, real talk, I'm very, very, very happy that she like agreed to jump on, because I hit her up hella last minute, like, hey, you know who else I hit up hella last minute was Gloria LaRiva. I hit her up last minute, but she's in Utah doing some sort of organizing in Utah, union organizing. So I try.
Well,
And
that
it's really
was-
hard to get Shahid.
Oh yeah,
Here, I'm
I
gonna
think
turn
a
this.
question about him.
Yes.
How is he polling right now?
I don't know, man. You know, he got hit real hard
Yeah,
with that with those
like
allegations.
back in July. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean,
and-
those are pretty much unfounded, right? I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily matter. You know, like once it's out there, it's out there.
I mean, here we are. You know, both of these men have kind of a bad track record with not kind of a bad. Trump has admitted and has been paying out, you know, settlements left and right for sexual assault. And Joe Biden and that Tara Reid story is pretty fucking heinous. And Shahid is getting treated with the same treatment because it was alleged that he said some rude things to somebody.
Yeah.
And it was mean to staffers.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to go ahead and concede power to Nancy Pelosi, who everybody despises because you said homie is mean?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure that the mainstream Democratic Party is behind that. They have to be. Because he had some traction.
I
definitely had some traction.
I asked him off air, and I actually went to go see him about a month ago. And real talk, he was like, I can't say that for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, he doesn't want to just sit there and be like, yeah, they flexed on me. I originally called the episode where he was spilling his guts about what happened, The Empire Strikes Back. And because I called the first one The New Hope. And you know, the whole plan was to have a Star Wars theme. And his campaign was like, nah, man, you got to change that. It's like, that's not good. I was like, homie, that's what happened to y'all. You got that flex. You got hit with that flex. And that's what we was talking about. I was like, I didn't really appreciate that Democratic Party flex. And for me, that showed me, and I wish more people would have really understood what was happening. It's like when you can flex on somebody with something that kind of light, that wasn't heavy shit. That wasn't like, oh, these are some illegitimate babies. That was on some like, you called me a name.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Makes me miss the days when things like going during your campaign.
Howard Dean. No more Howard Dean.
Done. Howard Dean was done.
How is that even?
His mouth. It was like he's done. That's it. And it just kept getting bigger. He kept doing.
Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? I mean, big fucking deal.
You know, excited about winning a primary. And he was out. That was it. Oh my God.
Gary Hart. Remember Gary Hart?
Oh yeah.
For president, like was it 88?
Yeah. 80.
And he got
88.
Yeah, 88, and he got busted with was it Jessica Hahn?
Jessica Hahn, yeah.
You said he was
yeah.
Bored.
I mean, I was a high schooler.
You guys, so when I reference this shit, you guys are supposed to go back and figure out what this shit is.
That is, absolutely.
Of
It
course.
just means it's been happening the whole time. That's what that means.
But he,
Yeah.
but the thing is, he got busted though. I mean, he did.
Oh
get
yeah,
busted.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, but Howard Dean, he yelled over something that he was excited about. No.
I would have hollered too.
He got turned into a punk rock sound clip.
Yeah.
A Dave Chappelle skit, like
It's great.
like it's. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I remember when Donald Trump had made the whole grab him by the pussy comment.
Yeah.
And I was like, that fool is donezo.
Yep. Yeah.
And I remember watching an episode of one of my favorite journalists is a guy named Chris Hedges, and he has a show called On Contact on Russia Today. And Chris Hedges was like, this is it for him. And I was like, yeah. And then it's kind of like the next day, a lot of cats is like, I've said worse. Bitch, you ain't president. You ain't even a manager. You ain't the district manager. You ain't even a key holder. Fucking give a fuck what you say.
What I don't understand is that there were actually women rallying around him going, well, I hear that from regular guys. It's okay. They're just dismissing it. Just like comments filled with like toxic misogyny and like the misogyny that they've absorbed. It just doesn't make any sense to defend a piece of crap like that. Like
whatever dude says to you at the bar is not what the president's supposed to say to you, man.
No, not at all.
He's not supposed to grab cats by the vagina. He runs a fucking pageant where he has access to see women change.
Yeah.
teenagers. Miss
And-
USA.
And he says he goes back there
Brags about it.
and was like, man, guess what I get to do? I get to see hella women that don't want to fuck me. And then I go up to him and be like, I'm grabbing them anyway. That's some weird little kid shit to do. And you scold him like, hey, man, you're not supposed to do that. Life ain't Porky's.
But to Donald Trump,
Life is Porky's. And you know what Donald Trump is doing? Donald Trump is like, you know what? You can live Porky's too. You can do this shit too.
But then he goes, but then he's like, well, no, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
At the same
I
time,
can. You
but I
can.
can't. Yeah, but that's why I should be president because I can.
I was talking
But don't
about that
really
shit
vote for
last
me.
night, man.
Because all I want is a news station. I don't really want to be. I'm president now. Oh,
I really, you know what, man, John, I really think you're on to something with that shit. And I this is what I believe in my soul. November 3rd. If you guys can join me on election night, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys can join me on election night.
If you don't mind my wife being in it with me.
I mean, that's your wife, right? It's not like
we'll be drinking.
If it's your ratchet ass neighbor, then I got a problem. But if it's your wife,
no. If you knew where I live, you know I wouldn't have ratchet ass anything around me right now.
I can see your fucking
have a
Lifetime
lot of
movie
gear.
ass house you got.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
I've been. This is non-debate related, but
Yes.
I have been watching. Lifetime is doing Shocktober, and if there's anything I love is a good Lifetime movie, and I definitely watched Home Killer Queen the other night. And
I don't watch Lifetime.
if you have a movie where somebody is trying to win Homecoming and then they got to kill somebody to win Homecoming, or you're a pilot and you have another life, or you're cheating on your wife with her best friend, and then somebody's still got to die, I'm going to watch that movie. I'm going to watch that movie 10 times out of 10. I'm going to watch that movie. I'm going to watch the shit out of that movie.
There was a Lifetime movie with Chris Noth. He was Mr. Big in the Sex and the City.
He's also on Law and Order.
Law and Order, which was Law and Order. I didn't watch it. But where he was a single father who was going to lose his kids
I like it
to
already.
some bullshit, and so he took his kids and went on a run.
Oh,
and then of course he met like
the most wonderful woman ever, right? Yeah,
to help him out. While he, and eventually, Lifetime.
90% of kidnappings are custodial parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Lifetime movies. After I get done with this, I'm definitely going to go see what Lifetime is cooking. And then I'm going to go watch really shitty horror movies from the 80s every day until Halloween.
Like a plan.
I love shitty horror movies. Are you guys friends with Mike Upchurch?
I know him, but I don't. I mean, I know him through Facebook.
We're talking about doing a horror movie show. Are you guys down to do a horror movie show as well?
Just be talking about it, or would we be streaming like at the same time, like a watch party?
I don't know if I want to go full watch party. I think we have to go full watch party with that shit. But what horror movie though?
It'd be hilarious because I generally don't watch horror movies, but I'd be willing to do this. So that'd be funny. So Eric and Ocean, you guys are horror movie fans, right?
I like horror movies a lot.
Sure. I'm a movie fan.
I found, and I didn't realize Amazon has these, and I hate saying it. I don't want to say that out loud. I just had Chris Smalls on. Hope he doesn't like kick me in the nuts when he sees me. They have all the horror movies that were the small movie company answer to the big budget movies. So there was like a bootleg version of Alien that came out after Alien.
Oh, like Mystery Science Theater level?
We probably would get Mystery Science with it.
Ooh.
Tell Eric I can't hear him. What'd you guys do to Eric? Ocean, if you don't give Eric the microphone.
We only have one microphone, and it's on my...
That's fucked up.
It's on my cam.
Uh-oh.
We can probably hear him now.
Okay, here Kamala's saying some shit.
On the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know
Can you
this
hear?
administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden.
This motherfucker's trying to make it about taxes. Remember when Allen Iverson said, practice? We over here
talking about practice. Not a game. Not a game. Practice.
Hey, check this out, Mike Pence. I'm going to hit you with the AI real quick. Taxes? Taxes? This motherfucker talking about taxes? We got zoonotic fucking viruses here killing literally over 1 million people. We got wildfires in this bitch. I've lived in California for 43 motherfucking years. I got orange moons and shit. The air is unbreathable. And your ass is talking about taxes. How about we raise the taxes on your rich ass?
Yeah.
You monkey mouth motherfucker. He literally said taxes. Let's get real here for a minute. He said taxes. Is we gonna sit here and talk about taxes? Is you finna talk to Americans like it's 1985 and everybody's in the middle class? Your boss ain't paying taxes.
Yeah. Because in Pence world, it is 1985. In fact, it's 1955. Which,
my son, you're welcome, son. You want to say hi to the people? Okay. You want to say hi?
No.
You sure? No, you want. My son eats Hawaiian bread. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. You. Jessica. He wants to sit down. Can you set him down in this chair, please? Yeah, he's gonna eat this bread. Yeah, he wants to sit down. By the way, did you see this? Did you see this this plate? Is this the sickest plate ever?
Sick.
What is?
It's a record.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. I just broke your. Sorry, son. Here you go, young man. I don't know if you guys can see him. Can you see him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They can see you now.
Where? I can't.
I quickly saw him
Oh.
for like a second.
He's. I'm gonna move the because if I move it too much, then my audio gets all fucked up.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Look at that.
Can you say hi?
Yeah, there's a
Look at it.
He's offering you guys bread. That's what he
Oh,
does.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh.
I'm hella mad the dude said taxes. Now I can't curse as much.
That's all you can think about.
Yeah.
That's why
Talking
he came here to remind me.
taxes.
Talking about taxes. Well, what was really going to happen is
Not wildfires. Not
taxes.
diseases. Taxes.
Well, if you make people believe that the problem is raking leaves, and the problem is climate change is part of the problem, and forest management is part of the problem. But raking leaves is a real big oversimplification of what forest management is.
Also, the National Forest System is a federal system.
Thank you.
Federal.
That's your water. Okay. I'm not gonna drink none of that. Are you good?
So, Jason, how are the wildfires there? Are they kind of calming down? No, because how stuff goes. If it's news for about 5-6 days, then it's just
so
like it doesn't happen anymore. So
Erek and Ocean are actually from California, right? They're from further south than me, though. And I was trying to figure this whole thing out the day I got this program, and so it was like right before I was going to do a show with this gentleman named Michael Harris that wrote this book about Star Wars that I hope all of you bought.
Yes,
it's called welcome to the rebellion. Anyway, I hit him up and I'm like, Mike, you won't believe this, man. Have you seen Total Recall? And he was getting mad at me. He was like, what? And I was like, look. And he was like, oh. It was all day. I'm sure your friends showed you pictures. I'm sure you guys seen it all day, man. It was red.
Yeah.
The sun never really got, it was kind of like perpetually 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
Dusk.
it was hella gross. And then, like, I would say 3 days ago, the moon was red, like bright red. Because there's another fire going on. And a lot of these fires that are going on up north, but then LA is on fire. It's really, really bad. The air is really, really bad. I was just in Vallejo, which is closer to Napa. My dad lives probably 10, 15 minutes from Napa. And there's just soot all over everybody's car from the fires. So it's a problem, man. And Donald Trump is just like, he literally said, like, what do the scientists know? Yeah, break the leaves.
Scientists know. I don't think they know.
Isn't that a quote from him? I don't think they know.
That's what he said. I was watching it live. I try to watch him live as annoying as it is. I try to watch him live as much as possible. And that is what he's like, well, I don't think the scientists know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see that.
In front of, like, Gavin Newsom was there and, like, all the scientists were there. And he's like, I don't think you know. I don't think they know.
And then before Mike or after Mike Pence said that bullshit about taxes, he goes, we're going to listen to the science. Well, what science is you listening to? Like, real talk. Like, who are you listening to? Let me know, because I want to talk to these motherfuckers.
Don't listen to those ones.
So if you're talking about, I'm going to listen to the scientists, and word?
What? Did he say he was going to do what the scientists said? I mean, they'll just listen to it. Like, I heard them.
I'm going to go back to the show because right now I've been instructed to get Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No.
And if I don't get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's going to be hell to pay. So we can keep talking. I'm just going to put it on the screen.
All right.
Okay.
Standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got away, they got rid of it. There was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210.
What'd I miss?
She's like mid
Toast Crunch.
Trump's obsession with Obama.
Yeah,
that's what they're talking. That's what Kamala's talking about.
So I figured it out.
Is Obama's success.
I figured out the Trump Obama obsession.
Figured
it out. Yeah, you heard me. We were going over this. So unfortunately, this young man has to hear me like go off on these rants while I'm working them out. And because Trump is so pro wrestling, there has to be like for every heel, and he's the lovable heel, there has to be the ultimate good guy. And he's from that world of wrestling where like Hulk Hogan was the ultimate good guy. Oh, Barack Obama, for all intents and purposes, even though we're here of the left and we're like, well, there's problems with that dude. Yeah. But for the vast majority of Americans, right, he is the ultimate good guy.
Ultimate good guy. Absolutely.
And Donald Trump has been constantly pointing his finger at the ultimate good guy because that's what heels do. Roddy Piper has to hate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
I don't really think he understands half of the things that he says. It's just that's the good guy and he's a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Is that what we work on?
Because he knows that there's a portion of the country out there that's going to identify with the heel. You know, I mean, you can't have and you can't have and it's easier to take the good guy that's no longer in the picture. That's what makes it so. Honestly, I don't know if Trump planned it this way, but that's what makes his antagonism effective to his base, because Obama's nowhere to be found anymore. He's not gonna, he's not gonna, he's not necessarily active right now. That's the thing. I don't know if he planned it that way, or if it's just literally his vanity and his obsession, and he just is a pure obsession with Obama. But I think you're right, Jason. I think that's a good analogy. But it's good because Obama's not going to answer, and he knows it.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, Obama's done. He's got his gajillion-dollar deal with Netflix.
Yeah.
His wife has the best podcast, and I haven't heard it. I mean, I think it's like the biggest podcast around. He gives right. What is Donald Trump going to say to Barack Obama to fuck up his day? Call him the N-word? He doesn't give a fuck. No one is going to call Barack Obama the N-word and have that shit affect him.
No.
Think about it. Go up to Barack Obama right now and be like, nigger. He'd be like, and?
He'd be like, but I'm a good one. And he'd turn around and walk away with a cigarette.
And then then the Secret Service beats the living shit out of your ass for 25 minutes. So if you say a word that starts with a letter N, you get a fucking PTSD. Your wife said what?
Yeah, she's coming in to join us because
your wife's coming in. Is she drunk too?
And she's coming in for beer too. So
You're right.
We one of the things that we've done during COVID
is develop a drinking problem.
All right. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I just took off my headset. Yeah, that and well, I know, I gotta adjust. But one of the things is that we have a kegerator in this room that I'm in. It's and you've seen it before, Jason. It's my sanctuary. I got my turntable and everything in there. I can just listen to music and just kind of get away. But my wife got me a kegerator for one of my goodness gracious. I gotta move stuff around. I gotta readjust because my wife has a longer torso than I do. I have no torso. I'm all legs. That much torso. Yeah. The Karen from the Karens down the street. Here you go.
I'm one of them.
How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome to the vice presidential debate.
Yeah.
We're streaming this on every platform. Phoenix. Son is with us.
Ooh, it looks like they're going to talk about the Supreme Court nominee.
Okay, we're gonna go to live stream for Amy Coney Barrett.
Caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. The last administration transferred $1.8 billion.
Can you guys hear that? The show?
Yeah. Terrorism. President Donald Trump got us out of the deal.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad to do harm to Americans, President Donald Trump took him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer.
Okay, but what's up with
You're
Trump
done.
taking credit for everything that he doesn't do?
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
You need to stop talking.
Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like you to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And
wasn't that
they
base
suffered
empty?
serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them?
No, I meant Biden.
We only think about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had—
Can you repeat that? I don't know what a bounty is.
Vladimir Putin, and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Wait,
Joe Biden
wait a minute. Are you
Joe
really
Biden
saying that
would hold Russia
you
to
believe this whole
account
bounty
for any
shit? 'Cause
threat
that sounds kind of ridiculous.
to our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing their lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make sure we have a chance
I really have to
talk about
respond to that.
Look,
You really don't.
seconds.
I got to have
trying
more
to
than
keep-
that. Look,
Well, I'm sorry, but Vice President,
Look.
more time than she
No.
said. So far,
President Donald
No.
Trump
You're done.
regarding men and women of our
No.
forces.
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is
Pence.
a captain in the United
No.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can
No.
assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military,
Do they pay
President
taxes?
Biden respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any
Mhm.
suggestion is ridiculous.
But
Let
thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say
President Pence.
the
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people deserve,
you know,
Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people deserve
I didn't,
to know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your
and Trump-
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate
She
with the
just needs to
Commission on Presidential
shut
Debates.
the fuck
I'm
up.
here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right
which is what I'm trying very hard to
Go
do.
right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic,
Wow, she
which
had
is
to get
an
stern.
important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee.
Yes.
Her confirmation would cement the court's
Can we talk
conservative
about Amy
majority
Coney Barrett's
and make it
history
likely open to
when it
more
comes to
abortion
labor, because
restrictions,
she has
even to
a
overturning the
horrible
landmark Roe v.
history
Wade ruling.
of siding
Access to
with
abortion
big
would then be
business
up
on
to the
labor
states.
issues.
Vice President Pence, you're the former
And as
governor of
long as they make
Indiana.
it about
If
reproductive
Roe v.
rights.
Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have to
Yes.
uninterrupted.
Well,
That's
thank-
exactly what he wants.
I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue.
Let me not
Women
respond
always
to that.
anti-choice
Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death
Oh
of
my
hundreds
God.
of
He's
Americans.
going to just deflect the question, of course. What a fucking dick.
Became, that's why I'm headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate. And Qasem
First of
Soleimani-
all, I ran out of toothpaste this
Good to
morning.
know that Joe Biden.
Yeah. Thank
Spoiler, he never answers the question.
Well, Trump already did that for him, like back in 2016. He said that the woman should be punished for abortion. When they asked him if that's what he ultimately wanted, he said yes. It's on one of our songs.
Yeah.
Should the men who pay for the abortions be punished too? Because he has a
I would
problem.
think
Then.
so. I would think
You're muted,
so,
Jason.
but you know, they also invented male birth control, but no one wants to take it because
Jason, you're
taking birth
muted.
control, you know, can screw you up.
No, you're muted.
Jason's muted.
Sorry, because I had a little
There you
boy.
There you are.
He was saying, but by the way, Phoenix says good night to everybody.
No.
Good night.
Hey, Phoenix.
He's about to shut it down. Piss all over everything. So who's getting an abortion?
Apparently no one, according to Mike Pence, even though he won't answer the question.
Fences?
Totally not getting an abortion. I'd have more respect for cats that was like that if they had like 15 kids. Because I'm like, you walk it like you talk it. God damn it. You ain't pulling out for nobody. I'm staying right in here. Because I get a lot of shit because my pullout game is trash. Living proof. I am way too old to be changing diapers of my own child. This is the point where, I had kids early for a reason. My wife and I were very young people, or my ex-wife and I were very young people. We were like, dude, we're like 35. We'll be like all grown and shit, and the kid will be out of that. Here I am, chasing that little black bastard all over the house.
He's super cute, though.
I like him.
Well, that's good.
He's adorable.
He's fine.
He's adorable.
That's good. I'm glad you like him.
I do. He's all right. He's all right. You see how he just sits here and he chills, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat the cinnamon toast crunch.
He
what if it would have been Fruity Pebbles?
He doesn't fuck. He don't really fuck with much. I went and bought him a cereal that's made for little kids. It's got little kid shit on it, and he was like, "I'm not. No." If Noam Chomsky comes on, he stops what he's doing and he'll sit there and watch that shit.
Yeah. Good.
Right?
Woke.
Right?
He's woke.
I like him a lot too. I like him already. That's good stock.
You guys think I'm bullshitting about like practicing this shit with him because it's me and him together all the time. So.
Are voting, so about to give it a shot. If they're saying he's doing it, he might as well do it.
Get that kid ballot.
Ballot harvesting. I never heard this much talk about voter fraud in my life.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's how you know you don't have a shot. You just start pulling shit out of the air. What you know what's really happening is people are fake voting. Word? Because like not a lot of people vote.
Yeah.
How hard it is to vote. Like, why do you have to register to vote?
Good question.
So that our black asses couldn't.
Says here you have a colored vote. You're only worth 1/3. Answer these complex questions here, Darky.
I remember my mom, my dad actually, because he turned 18 in 1954.
Damn.
1955. I'm sorry, 1955.
Right after Brown v.
He joined the service when he was 17. Still joined the Air Force, and he voted for the first time then. And he actually had to take a test.
Yeah,
still had to because he was in Kentucky.
Have you ever seen the questions that were on that
Indiana?
test?
Sorry, he was in Indiana at the time and had to take a take a test in order to vote.
I don't think a lot of cats could answer those questions. And I'm not saying that to be like fucked up. That was a serious ass test to vote. I did this show. I think it's going to go live like next week with a guy named Gregory Wilpert, who wrote a book about Chavez in Venezuela. And if you look at like a lot of the reforms that Chavez had, when it comes to like voting and democracy. When people say things like, you want this to be Venezuela? I'm like, have you read their constitution?
Yeah. Yeah.
Housewives were getting UBI. He was rolling out UBI in like 99. He was like, you can't be equal if you don't make no money.
Yeah.
That's not what equality looks like. So how about if you sitting there taking care of these badass kids and the house, that's labor.
Yeah.
We gotta pay you for that labor. There was a lot of shit. He had like shit about indigenous rights in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
He was really trying to democratize not just the economy, but like society as a whole. And it's very sad that we had to fuck that shit up.
Yeah. But we had to because it made us look bad.
Well, he was controlling all that oil. I mean, again, you look at that pink tide and those guys that came out of it and the reforms that they did and probably total, you probably got like 100 million plus people that got lifted out of like abject poverty during that short time because of those bottom up reforms.
Yeah.
And here we are begging in the richest nation in the world, our government to be like, can you just give us health care during the pandemic?
Yeah.
And then see how that shit feel. And then if y'all like the way that shit feel, then maybe we can roll this out forever.
But I mean, but isn't the way we treat the Latin American countries or how this country is historically treated, isn't it much like how we treated our own citizens here? I mean, look at Canada, dude. Who's trying to put sanctions on Canada? I wonder why. What could be so different?
Canada does put some sanctions out too.
Then but Venezuela, somebody comes in, tries to lift their economy. Oh, they got a lot of oil. They have a little bit of stake. Can't have that. You got to know your place. It's very, very analogous to how our own country operated from its inception. But that would be great if we did put sanctions on Canada. I don't know what it would be for, but we should just do it.
Are they still not letting you Americans in Canada?
Use of French.
Letting people in for like business.
Oh, really?
I don't like that French stuff.
Because people that I've talked to from other countries, all they think is they just say to me, "Oh, you guys are fucked." That's like the first thing that people say to me.
Oh, here.
And like, I'll bring up, "Oh yeah, and we're also banned from pretty much everywhere right now still." And they'll go, "Yeah, you're extra fucked." So,
I think we can only go to countries that have an equal COVID outbreak, like India and Brazil. I think that's the only places we can go. The UK, like anywhere you go, it's like, I'm good. Oh, Kamala's about to drop the hammer on him. Let's go to Kamala.
Administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Oh, she's about to hit him with that fire.
And I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal.
Mm-hmm.
People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about racial justice.
I just want the record reflect she never answered the question. So I think maybe the next debate.
Wow.
But I think the American people.
I haven't answered one question yet.
In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None of them have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor,
The
was
black
justice
attorney
done?
general
You have 2 minutes.
did not
I don't believe
want
so. And
to
I've talked with
charge
Breonna's
the
mother,
officers
Tamika Palmer, and her
for
family.
murder.
And her
He's
family
black.
deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer. And people around our country of every race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately.
And there you have it, folks. We're going to reform the bad system. Now, before I just want to remind anyone paying attention and listening that the carotid chokehold was banned when Rodney King got beat in LA in 1991. I think that's when the beating happened. It was banned, and several of the officers said if they were allowed the carotid chokehold, they wouldn't have beat Rodney King to the bloody pulp that they beat him to. And to give you another quick history on that carotid chokehold, a big reason why it was banned was because the cops were killing a lot of black men that they were arresting. Yeah. And it started to become a thing in the police department led by Daryl Gates, who is a huge racist, that black people handled pain differently.
Doctors felt that way. I almost died because a doctor felt that way. Because I was choking when I was like 6 months old.
So you're fine.
Yeah. These colored boys can handle that shit. Yeah. So real talk, when they talk about banning the carotid chokehold, let's remember that banning a chokehold doesn't make any difference. And listening to her, and I definitely want to get you guys, but I'm going to rant and shut the fuck up. Listening to that motherfucker say that shit about, you know, she was such a sweet young girl and yada, yada, yada. I mean, the problem is, you're bitching at this dude because he's not electing any black people, but the black attorney general didn't want to try the officers for murder. It's now come out from the grand jury, and grand juries are literally designed to charge you for murder, for a crime. That's all they're there for. If you don't know how they work, people out there that don't know how they work,
famous statement. You can indict a ham sandwich.
Yeah, it's not Law and Order. They go out there. When they go, we don't know what the grand jury is going to do. They fucking know what the grand jury is going to do. The lawyers get to have cops come up there, experts come up there, and there's nobody for the defense. No one for the defense. And they go, should we convict? They came up there. They were like, well, hey, we're going to let you hear the one guy that said he heard the cops say something, and you can only indict them on the bullets that didn't hit her house, but that hit the next house. That's all you get. And now that it came out that that was what it was, dude's dealing with a little bit of backlash. But his color has nothing to do with that. You can't take a chokehold out and expect cops to act right. Because, as David Graeber says, my brother-in-law was talking about this, police are bureaucrats with weapons that kind of walk around enforcing titular laws. You didn't stop enough at the stop sign.
Yeah.
Your seatbelt's not buckled to the way I like. I've gotten pulled over because someone said that my child was not in his car seat good enough. How the fuck can you see that?
Yeah, you can.
So you know what I mean? Like when you're allowed to enforce these bullshit, your tail light is out. Now I'm going to pull you
pulled
over
because the light on my license plate was out.
Yeah.
and now I got to fine you for that. And depending on who you are and what you say to me, I got to fuck you up for that. And I'm only going to do it in certain neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not looking at policing in general, your reforms are bullshit at best. No, I'll shut up. I'm going to mute my mic and you guys talk.
I mean, that's the first thing they do when they pull you over for anything is they ask, are you on probation? Are you, they're not pulling you over because you're light. They're pulling you over so they can get you on probation, so they can get you on a warrant, so they can get you on something else. And I was just talking with somebody that's a Blue Lives Matter guy. We were just talking about systemic racism and how the police have been in any movie, the only good cop is the one fighting against all the bad cops. And in any, you look at we were talking about the Castro district, and that was started because the police ran a racket down there. And so throughout history, cops have been portrayed as bad cops. But one of the, oh man, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Lost my train of thought.
I think I feel like I knew you were going. Maybe I can help you get it back. You were like talking about how, like, I think of Serpico, for instance. The old movie with Al Pacino, where he's a good cop that's outing all the bad cops.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I feel like my brother, and Jason knows this, my brother's a cop, is retired cop. He was a police officer for 24 years. And here in the city of Madison, got up to the rank of lieutenant. So he got pretty high up, and actually went to a junior college and taught law enforcement, and was the head of a police academy at a junior college. And him and I love my brother, but him and I go around all the time. Because the one thing that we do argue about is the whole, blue line and the whole groupthink that goes along with either like being in the military, being a police officer, being in a fraternity or a sorority, things like that, and how the line between quote unquote good cops and quote unquote bad cops is super blurred, to the point where you almost have gray cops. You have bad cops. I think you have bad cops and you have gray cops.
Yeah.
I don't know what good cops are. Because if you're a good cop, you wouldn't want to be one. If you were a good cop in a department that had corruption in it and had people kicking minorities' asses, you just wouldn't want to be a part of it. If you didn't think you had a chance to do anything about it, you just get out, because that would be the easiest thing to do. So like I said, him and I, we go round and round about that, because I know my brother. I'm sure my brother was a dick as a cop. I don't think he was dirty. I don't think he was a dirty cop. I don't think he would do anything malicious, but I don't think he was always the nicest guy. I mean, because I don't think when you're police, I just don't think that's the feature. It's the feature is to be intimidating, is to be an authority figure, is to be a dick.
Have you guys seen the footage that recently came up with the guy that designs the shoes for Gucci, I think?
Mm-mm.
The kid that designs the shoes for Gucci is this young black kid. I think he designs like sneakers for him or something, right? Everybody's got a streetwear line.
Yeah.
And he's walking out of the store and he jaywalked on Rodeo Drive.
Okay.
My SoCal brethren know Rodeo Drive. And the cops pull him over, and he's nice about it, but it's that passive aggressive niceness that's like super offensive. He's like, "Hey man, you know why I'm stopping you today?" And the guy's like, "I don't know why." And he goes, "Well, because you crossed the street over there, and there's no." And the guy goes, "Oh, okay, I'm jaywalking." And the guy goes, "Okay, so what do you want?" And the dude's like, "So what business do you have here?"
There we go.
But he's still saying it in a nice way. He's like, hey, I'm not trying to be mean. You know, right? You're good. We're good. Okay. And the dude, young black man, he's being cool about it, as cool as he can be. And the cop goes, "Do you have your ID on you?" And the guy goes, "Well, yeah." And he's holding a bag with shoes in it. And the guy goes, "Do you have any drugs or weapons on you?" And the guy goes, "No." He goes, "Can I get your ID?" And he's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
This is the dude that designs the shoes. And he's being treated like, I don't have a word to describe how he's being treated. It's just it makes you so angry.
In this country.
That's when we say, and this is where I get mad about the over publicization, the overdoing it of seeing these evil images ad nauseum of George Floyd and insert horrible murder here, because those instances are of course a lot more fewer and far between, where people are getting tuned up by the police. You know what's way more common? That one. Where they're nice to you.
Yeah.
And I just brought that up.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing they say is like, "Hey, so you just walked out of that store. Did you not want to wait in line anymore?" Like they immediately, first thing they did was assume that he shoplifted that bag of stuff. That was the first thing they said to him. They stopped him and they're like, "Hey, did you not want to wait in line in that store? Like that store back there?" And he's like, "What are you even talking about?" And that's how they came to him. These dudes wearing like a tie-dye shirt, like on Rodeo, like just some guy, that, like you said, he designed those shoes, but I mean, he's just some guy walking out of a store for all they know, and that was the first thing he did is, "Did you steal that?" And that's it.
And in the eyes of a lot of people, even there's and John, you know this, there's black people that'll be like, "Well, if you just comply." And here you have a kid complying, but it is complying that starts to make you feel complicit.
Yeah.
And after a while, you see the kid get real pissed off because I think they cuffed him.
Yeah, they handcuffed him.
More cops start coming around, and it's like, look, there's nothing to do in Beverly Hills. Here you have a black man, and you're making up this shit in your mind. You are creating in your mind some sort of evil criminal racket of knockoff robberies. Even if, let's just say, he stole some expensive shoes from an overpriced store. What are you doing to make the world a better place?
Yeah. Right. But it's not about that. And you've talked about that. But that's the thing with this country, and it's going to be a deeper dive than maybe, but ultimately none of this shit matters. Like watching this debate, watching for me and for you, what does this matter? Because no matter what, no matter who gets elected, obviously if Trump gets elected, then then we're just going down deeper into the rabbit hole. But if Biden gets elected, then we just don't move. We're still seen like that kid, like the young black man you're talking about. We're still seen as guilty criminals, and that perception is, and that's only because we were chattel for the first half of this country, and then after that, when we couldn't be chattel anymore, and we couldn't be owned, then we had to be ostracized, and then when we couldn't do that quite as much anymore, then we had to be divided. So it's like I said, even the analogy about how the United States treats other countries in this hemisphere, except for Canada, of course. Is that if maybe Dutch East Indies. I don't know. I'm sure there's a couple other white islands there,
Costa Rica,
that don't. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's ultimately if you're not white, you're worthy of suspicion, and kind of the darker you go, the more suspicious you are. And it doesn't even matter because everyone's programmed to think that way. And in this country, ultimately, that's if we don't deal with that, then nothing changes. Nothing changes. I thought, when I thought that after George Floyd, it looked like maybe this will start to change. And while I think it's going to change incrementally, as long as we have literally people like Joe Biden as our president, it's not going to change because he benefits from it.
Yeah.
And it's great that that Kamala's, VP. It is a historic moment in this country. That doesn't mean shit. It just doesn't. Ultimately, it just doesn't. Now, having Angela, here's where it would mean something. If you had, if there was a candidate like Bernie or Howie and Angela out there and they won, now we're going to do something about it. Now we're going to start chipping away at it. It's not going to happen in 4 years, but at least you're really going to start chipping away at those things. It's because it's going to take. It took us so long to get here. Obviously, it's going to take us a long time to get out of it. But at least you can start chipping away. No matter how this election turns out, nothing's getting chipped away.
I will say this,
it's going to be worse, or it's going to be 2014.
I think we can all agree. That the George Floyd protest blowing up as global as it was, and even in Portland right now, we've all been to Portland.
Yeah.
Ain't a lot of cats in Portland look like me and John.
No.
I've heard tell of black people in Portland. I keep telling people it's when the Trailblazers are playing the home game.
There are also Latinos that have been moving there too. In general, there's been a higher population of Latinos moving to Oregon.
Yes. But they're all MS-13 though.
According to President Trump, yeah.
Every single one of them.
But like
every
really,
single one of them. Men, women, children, babies, they're all MS-13. Every last one of them.
But aren't y'all happy though to see like white cats out there protesting police violence and standing it is becoming this global, we have to reckon with this racist history, and it's a bunch of different kinds of people coming out there and protesting, but unfortunately all you get is Proud Boys.
Yeah.
A few hundred dickheads in Fred Perry shirts, and it sucks because I kind of like them Fred Perry shirts. I can't afford
Fred Perry
one,
discontinued that colorway. Fred Perry went so far as to put out a statement that they were not in support, and then they discontinued that colorway, so they will no longer produce that shirt.
That's why.
Wow, man,
that's
blowing up the business plan.
Dude,
giving those guys the amount of power that they've given those guys to be the ass clowns that they are is so fucking frustrating, because we stopped talking about real shit. As the conversation started getting switched to let's defund the police and we need to have mental health professionals come out because this is Alex Vitale got to speak more on CNN and shit like that. I'm hella fired up because I love Alex. And now we're talking about Proud Boys. Word.
And then on an even deeper level, now the gay community on Twitter is reacting to the fact that the Pride Boys, where they're making fun of the Proud Boys, is mostly just thin white dudes that they're showing.
Yeah.
Now there's even a disruption and divide in that field because we can't even make a joke without possibly, ignoring. I don't know. I think it's just, it's very frustrating that we can't even unite on making fun of these guys, but also you guys do need to address the fact that there is racism within the gay community too. So.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a
Hella.
huge issue here in Madison.
Yeah.
Talks about all the time.
Yeah, because Madison, where we are, and Jason knows this, that Madison is kind of propped up as the San Francisco of the Midwest, the extremely liberal, freewheeling, small city.
We let gays walk around willy nilly.
Exactly. and yeah. So, but that's the willy nilliness is as far as it goes. As far as from a racial standpoint, the city's about as segregated as any that you would find in the Midwest. Even with even within the gay community, there's so much racism and segregation.
Yeah.
Wisconsin is the worst state for Black people to live in. Wisconsin,
Milwaukee.
Minnesota, I think, is second. It's like the top 10 are mostly Midwestern states.
We're state to raise a Black family.
Yeah, we're state to raise a Black. We're state for a Black kid to go to school.
Most incarcerated Black.
Yeah, most Black people incarcerated here in Wisconsin. There are actually whole congressional voting districts that are predominantly Black, but they're all in prison. Literally all in prison. Up north in northern Wisconsin. In fact, besides Milwaukee County, I think the second highest county for of concentration of Black people, according to the census, is in Vilas County, which is way in the northern part of the state because there's a prison there.
Jesus.
It's
I was trying to get, speaking of Wisconsin, I was trying to get Harvey J.K. to jump on with us, who is a professor at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, and talk that crazy. My cousin says "wow" to your Wisconsin.
You know what their mascot is, Jason? You know what their mascot is?
Oh, he told me. Was it a Bronco?
Fighting Phoenix.
Fighting Phoenix. That's what he told me it was. He's going to send me some Phoenix stuff from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I grew up like 3 hours, about 140 miles north of Green Bay, so I'm very familiar with it. Everyone would think you were a Packer. It'd be great. You just come, you play football. Yeah, I'm wide receiver. Yeah, everybody I knew it. I knew you from somewhere. I knew it.
There's a movie from the either early 2000s or late 90s with Jamie Foxx. I think it's called Held Up or Hold Up or something like that.
No.
And he walks in. The whole movie is about he walks into a convenience store on a long drive with, I want to say, Nia Long, and it gets held up by some white guys. And so he's in the store, and there's a kid that's really into urban culture. I'm trying not to say wigger because I don't like that word. And so this kid sees Jamie Foxx and he keeps calling him Mike Tyson. And throughout the movie, everybody white calls Jamie Foxx a different famous Black person.
It's funny that you use Mike Tyson. One of the last times that last time Karen and I went back to market when we were together, we walked into a bar, obviously pre-COVID, and some dude called me Mike Tyson.
Like loudly, so the whole bar could hear, and kept following him, followed him outside, kept calling him Mike Tyson.
But I've been called Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, P. Diddy.
Anyone Black.
Yeah.
My first time in Columbus, where these two yahoos are living right now, my first time in Columbus, somebody called me Obama from the stage.
Oh, wow.
Commented from the stage. said, "Look,
was
everybody,
it
it's Barack Obama."
when Bear Lake was touring?
It was when me and Cindy were touring, and that was the same day that a guy went up to Cindy and he goes, "What are you?" And she said, "Canadian." And he goes, "No, what's your nationality?" She goes, "Canadian."
They do that out here.
And he goes, "No, you know what I mean. Like, where are you from?" She's like, "Vancouver."
Canada.
And he goes, and he kept doing this. So finally she goes, "Oh, you mean my ethnicity? I'm Filipina." And the guy goes, "Ha, knew it. I've been to Hong Kong once."
Oh.
That was my first memory of Columbus.
When we first moved here and I had my maiden name, which is Santiano, that was like the one giveaway for me, right? But people would still do that shit. They would go like, "Oh, where are you really from?" Because I would say, "Oh, I'm from Southern California." And they go, "No, where are you really from?"
Like your family.
Like your family.
Your family.
And I go, "I don't know. My dad was born in San Diego. My grandma's from Mexico. What do you want? My daddy's brown."
My wife and I, a great parlor trick for us is one of us is from the Upper Peninsula and one of us is from the southwest side of Detroit. Guess which one? They all get it wrong. Every one of them. And,
Your wife is from Detroit. Did she know Eminem?
She's from southwest Detroit. Yeah.
Did you grow up with Eminem?
Probably.
He was from Warren. He was a suburban kid.
We played hopscotch. Yeah, I grew up in Detroit. He grew up.
Obviously. Eminem. Yeah, he grew up in Warren. Yeah. But Warren is kind of. But there's two. But the one thing about Detroit, though, is the crazy thing about Detroit. If you've ever been there, there's so much poverty and wealth in such a small area. So you can be like so there's 8 Mile, which like the movie, which separates Detroit from the northern suburbs. We used to live in Ferndale, which is a suburb, on 8.5 Mile. And but if you went to like south of 8 Mile into Detroit, it's like a freaking golf course. I mean it's just regular houses, but anyway. But it's funny because our suburb, Ferndale, if we ever moved back to the area, it'd be the only place I'd live besides the city, because it was actually diverse. It had a very robust LGBTQ population. There were black people, white people, Asian people.
He's lying. He's just saying that because he can get a house there that looked like a Lifetime house. You can't leave a Lifetime house and go to one of them fucked up Detroit houses where the roof got a hole and he looked like Tom Hanks in a money pit. Fuck that shit.
But you could buy a whole block of them for $2.50.
You can.
$2.50.
You can buy them. I remember when I was in finance, the wholesalers would sell houses in Detroit, and it would be buy one get one free. I'm being totally serious. There is no joke. Totally serious. And they were like $3,000.
International sellers once, and they had I measure everything by Detroit phone books. So like the yellow pages were about this thick. They had like 5 of those books full of houses for sale in Detroit, all the abandoned houses. Everything was $500, no taxes, nothing left on it. $500. They couldn't even sell 1/4 of one of the 5 books. And they brought people in internationally, big investors from all over. So at that point, I'm like, there's no chance in our lifetime that Detroit's coming back.
Nope. And it was once the richest city in America.
Oh yeah, the Paris of the United States, Detroit.
And
what's the food there again? What are you guys known for eating again?
Coney's.
What is that?
Coney
Chili dogs.
Yeah. Okay. Only Coney I know is that black dude.
Actual Coney Island. I've never understood that.
How you do that? That's some Detroit shit right there.
But I'll tell you an interesting van story from the Secret Friends, one of the Secret Friends tours, is that I brought up cottage style pizza, which is thick, square, or rectangular. Or Little Caesars, but the rectangular version, deep dish. And I told them it's Detroit style, and none of them motherfuckers believe it. No, Detroit doesn't have a style of pizza. No way. It's like, well, Little Caesars. Domino's is from Detroit. Domino's originated.
Conan likes that Detroit. He always talks about Detroit. Is it Detroit he talks about or St. Louis he talks about? It's some Midwestern city.
That what?
That he loves the pizza from. Conan talks about this.
Maybe it's Detroit because I can't think of pizza from St. Louis or Chicago.
He goes, no, it wasn't even Chicago. It was like, I love Detroit pizza, and I was like,
maybe because they have a style of pizza.
Like, what did Detroit do to a pizza to make you say
pizza?
Motherfucking Detroit.
Oh, I bet you I know where it was from, Jason, is because we played a show outside of Detroit. Actually, it wasn't really anywhere near Detroit. It was about 60 miles outside. It was when you did our Canadian tour.
You played by the border?
Yeah, and we played one show outside of Detroit before we went into Canada, and it was at a pizza place that specialized in Detroit style pizza, and they hooked us up big time. I mean, I would have walked in and be like, well, what do you know?
They were one of
those good, it was one of those great tour stories where you get to the one venue and they just hook you up so perfectly that you couldn't even ask for it. So you know that the next night show is going to be terrible. It's like you're set up for it. Yeah, I mean, but
is that how you guys think too? Do you guys think the same way?
I think so, because when you show up to a venue that makes food and they go, oh yeah, we'll give you guys food, and then you go, well, I'm vegan, that's when you get the look of okay, sorry.
Oregon was
Fuck
actually
these guys.
all the places we played. Everywhere in Portland was really good. They had
they're vegan friendly as fuck.
Yeah,
very
so good. We had chicken and waffles, vegan. Pizza that was vegan, and I think at the bars,
you got to rewind that story a little bit. How do they pull off vegan chicken and waffles?
I don't know.
Seitan.
Yeah, fried seitan dish.
Yeah, and they fry it, and it's. I mean, it's chicken-ish. It's good though.
Chicken-ish.
So I have to say this. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I do have to bring this up at some point again because it's still fresh. Eddie Van Halen passed away.
He did. You know, I was never like a huge Van Halen guy, but I grew up, where I grew up in UP. I didn't have
canceling this guy. No, just kidding.
Van Halen records, so I missed that. I wasn't on the show.
He's shut you off.
No.
I did some dicky shit.
They cut me.
Yeah.
But the first 4 records, though.
I like the Hagar stuff too. I'm not gonna lie.
I am not.
I don't mind it, but definitely the first 4.
I grew up in a Van Halen household, but it was not the Van Hagar Van Halen.
I know my brother loved it so much. He was 5 years older than me, and he loved it so much. He took his first escort pony, and the whole back window of the car with pinstriping did the VH on the back. But yeah, he was not a Hagar fan.
And it takes guts to do that on a Ford Escort. You better have some stroke to do that.
That's the power of Van Halen. It makes you do shit you shouldn't do.
I'm kind of in the same boat too.
They had automatic seatbelts that came back on you.
That choked you.
That was that year 3000 shit. He was like, man, the future is now. Were you saying that you're not a fan of Van Halen, Eric?
I'm in the same boat. Like, I mean, he's great. Oh yeah. Like, good job. Like, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I like it. We just listened to the first 2 albums. We got them out of the dollar bin. Like, that's cool.
I posted a story that I had never heard before about how he did the solo for "Beat It."
I saw that.
Oh yeah.
That.
What about the story about him pulling a gun on Fred Durst? Did you hear that one?
Is that real? Why did he do that again?
They had like some disagreement, and he needed to get his gear back, and he just showed up like in this military vehicle with a gun and was like, "Give me my fucking gear back."
Fred, you thought it was a game?
He's cut right to the chase.
Sherman Oaks don't play, Fred.
Yeah, he drove like an illegal military vehicle on the street through LA to get to Fred Durst's place.
Yeah, look that up, man.
I guess that he got it from some auction, like a celebrity style auction, you know, where you can buy pretty much anything you want.
Jason Becker. I don't know if you guys know Jason Becker. He was in a band with Marty Friedman. Marty Friedman, of course, played in Megadeth through all the really classic albums. Jason Becker was supposed to be the next Van Halen. He actually, I don't know if he wrote, but I know he played on David Lee Roth's second record, and then he got Lou Gehrig's disease, and he had to stop playing. He's from where I'm from in Richmond. He's still alive. He can't move anymore. He can only move his eyes. And his father made him a chart, this kind of board, and Becker looks at the chart, and his father translates what Becker's saying. Since he's lost all use of his limbs, he has written 2 or 3 records. There's a documentary about him called Ain't Dead Yet. I advise you guys to check it out. Anyway, Becker posted something about Eddie Van Halen that just, I was almost in tears. So Becker is kind of close to my sphere because of people that I know at the studio that know him and have grown up with him. And I'm also just a fan of what he did on Perpetual Burn. It's a Shredder record. I am definitely not a Shredder, but he's one of those guys. And his whole thing was he wanted to do Van Halen shit without finger tapping. So Becker can do all that shit with like arpeggio. He was an amazing player. Watch videos of this kid. I think it hit him when he was 21. Damn. So he was about to be the next guy. Eddie Van Halen he's been raising money for Becker for years, and apparently Jason Becker said Eddie Van Halen had given him, when he first got his Wolfgang guitar model, his own signature model, he gave Jason Becker one and signed it, and he felt really bad about giving it to him because he knew he wasn't going to be able to play it anymore. Becker was like, whatever, man, you're Eddie Van fucking Halen.
Yeah.
And he said when the Ice Bucket Challenge became a thing, Eddie Van Halen hit him up and said, how much money do you need?
Wow.
So it's like you hear stuff like that, you're like, oh. I'm sure Valerie Bertinelli has some not nice stories about it.
I looked up that story about
Nobody knows.
Wait, where is it?
Eddie Van Halen wrote it into his book, and he said, so Eddie once brought, it was a ultimate classic rock. Oh, Bennett, whoever that is, Fred Durst guy, I don't know. But he says Eddie once bought an assault vehicle from a military auction. It had a shine gun mount on the back, and it was not legal. He drove the assault vehicle through LA into Beverly Hills and parked it, left it running on the front lawn of Fred Durst's house. He wasn't wearing a shirt. He had his hair in a samurai bun on the top of his head, and jeans held up by a rope from a shoestring from combat boots.
That's your cord.
And was holding duct tape and had a gun in his hand, and was just like, he was wearing no shirt. That asshole answered the door. I put my gun to his stupid fucking red hat of his and said, "Where's my shit, motherfucker?" The fucking guy just turned to one of his employees and starts yelling at him to grab my shit. Eddie Van Halen stood on the front lawn of the residential home in broad daylight, smoking a cigarette while holding a gun as Fred Durst went back and forth loading the shit up with amps and guitars.
What do you take from Eddie Van Halen?
I think it said he was jamming with him.
Yeah, they were doing like recording and jamming. I think that they were trying to like write together. Like maybe
gear.
he was like working with him.
They began smoking pot. Or they started smoking pot, and he was like, "Fuck this," and he's out. I don't know. And then he came back and was like, "No," and took all his shit back.
Eddie is not a game. I told you, Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
Fuck with the tough guys from Sherman Oaks.
But do you have a picture of your dad with an 80s mustache holding his own guitar that he painted like Eddie Van Halen's guitar? Because
that's kind of badass.
Did it turn out good?
It looked good, yeah.
Oh,
He was
awesome.
a huge Van Halen fan. He still is. I'm sure he was crying into his beer yesterday.
Apparently, Eddie Van Halen said when the Beat It solo came on, he was in a Tower Records in Sherman Oaks, and a kid was going, "Who's that guy trying to be Eddie Van Halen?" And he taps the kid on the shoulder and was like, "It's me." Like, if that story is true, if Eddie Van Halen really did that, A, he's hilarious for just walking into the record store and not having an assistant walk in. B, why couldn't have I been that asshole kid saying that and had Eddie Van Halen tap me?
This guy sucks.
Bitch, that's me. I'll finger tap all over your asshole. Eddie Van Halen. So I'm very heartbroken by Eddie Van. And it's not like, the sad part about it, it's not like he was going to release a new record and I was finna like get it. I haven't checked for Van Halen for a minute.
It still sucks.
They toured. Did they just tour like 3 years ago, was it?
It was one of the biggest gross.
Sammy Hagar? When Eddie was drinking again and they had to cancel half the tour.
No, I thought they were touring with David Lee Roth.
That was like 7, 8 years ago. No. Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Were they scheduled?
What's
the timeline?
2020.
Because it was David Lee Roth and Hagar did the tour together, 8 years ago? 9 years ago?
More than that. It was
more than that?
That was like a lifetime ago. That was a lifetime ago.
But I'm old, remember? So
yes, you are. You have great chest hair. That's the question.
I have several.
That's fucked up when your wife says it yes first. Like she saw that shit first and was like, "Well, I guess it's all downhill from here." The chest hair.
What am I gonna lie to you?
The balls is hanging lower.
I shave off my gray hair, so it's like it doesn't anymore.
Leave it. Leave it.
So where can I find Body Farm stuff? Can I get on Bandcamp?
Oh yeah, so this is progress.bandcamp.com.
There it is.
Okay. Oh, right there.
Bam.
So that's our most recent recording. It was released on Blind Rage Records. It was a limited edition 3-inch laugh, which is like that big.
Yes.
And they sold out. They only did 30 of them, but they sold out in 3 minutes. So that was cool.
Wow.
And actually, a funny thing, Sidetracked, this other band from Washington, actually put out a 3-inch laugh at the same time and sold out in 30 seconds. So, but they're awesome. So it's good. But so if you go to that link, this link,
that's easy to remember.
It's reverse. So this is progress.bandcamp.com. That's actually our record label too, and zine and podcast and way of life, promoting positivity in Ohio, and just promoting Ohio and Midwest bands and
look how frustrated he looks saying that. He's like, "God damn Ohio."
No shows. No shows. So
my band before I played with Secret Friends was called Tyranny is Tyranny, and we were on Freight Tree Records out of Cincinnati.
Awesome.
And so so I know quite a few bands, a few Cincinnati and Dayton bands.
Awesome. We used to split with Slut Bomb out of Cincinnati.
What's that?
We did a split 7-inch with Slut Bomb out of Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're old. We don't know any young Triangle kids.
Yeah, they're like a newer band. But we also just moved to Ohio, so we've only lived here for about 5 years.
Okay. Yeah.
I was actually born in Michigan, in Traverse City.
Oh, see? Not you.
And not me, but I'm showing my hand where that is, and I think you know that. It's up by your pinky. Right there, right there. Yeah. No. Yeah, because we just did the tweet too. Right there. It's right there. It's right there. Yeah, over the peninsula. I was actually.
People that don't know if you live in Michigan,
I was actually born in Michigan.
There's
but there wasn't a hospital in Onekama, so we went to Traverse City.
Michigander.
Some condos on the lakeshore there for you. Put some condos on the lakeshore, like when you were doing.
Yeah, right there. We got fudge last time we were there, though. McCormick's. You got to get that.
So are you guys are still releasing music? You guys are still playing? You recently did a live stream with Cult Nation.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just doing online stuff for the most part. We did actually play a fundraiser that was for a shuttle for rural voters. So they did like a socially distanced, like outdoor performance, and they built out a half pipe, and they had like 300 tickets bought, I think. That was like the max of it. But we've mostly been like doing the live online events. We do actually have another one coming up in October for Speed Bump Fest, which is an Ohio thing, I guess.
Based out of Youngstown.
We filmed that set list already, so that's going to be a part of a live event. And we have a full-length album that we're working on now. 7 of the songs that we played in our Cult Nation set list were from the new material that we're going to be that are going to end up on that album. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Go for it.
No, go ahead. No, please.
Oh, so the newest thing we did was this 3-inch, and then we're so this is progress. The label, we just did a issue 2 of our zine, which had a flexi with it and had 5 Midwest bands Naked Aggression, Kratom, Nervous Aggression, Kratom, Kiratira, Jeffrey Donger, and Sacrifix. And so I try to do these flexis that come with these zines to have new bands. And then the next zine, issue 3, is going to be coming out. We're actually sending it to print right now, and that's going to have a 4-song flexi with all bands with 1 person in them. And that they recorded all the drums, they recorded all the guitars. So it has like somebody from Michigan, actually, or not Michigan, Cleveland, someone from Maryland. I did a song, and then someone from California. And then so then other than that, there's no shows. So it's very hard to put out stuff. It's very hard to sell anything. I mean, there are certain, like Gulch sold out in 5 minutes, but like regular bands can't do that. Like, so it's challenging. It's very challenging.
But we've also been using some of our profit from what we sell to either donate or to buy merch from other bands. Yeah. So we're all like passing the dollar around right now.
You guys are better people than me because I haven't picked up a guitar in 5 months.
Yeah.
I don't know about John, but I'm like,
That's the thing. I mean, Secret Friends we practiced a month ago. It was, in fact, funny, crazy story about that. We practice, our practice space is in Kenosha. And literally a half hour after Conan and I left the space, that's when everything went down.
Really?
So that was the last day I played drums.
Damn.
But before that, I played a few times. I mean, I have a room in our basement, but it's weird through this pandemic. I thought I would be really motivated, and I actually tried to learn guitar a little bit, like formally learn guitar. But I just burn out really fast. I haven't. It's been hard to actually play without people. Now I play in another band in a kind of avant-garde improv noise post-rock band called Threadmaker, and we got together a couple times where we would play outside. We would distance, and when it was warm, and we just do our whatever shit because it's improv, so it's somebody make the first sound and then we go from there. But we've only gotten together a couple of times, even for that. It has been weird, I know I need to. Well, now that Conan's new record is out, I'm
And
actually
you're getting a lot of great attention too, by the way.
practicing that. Yeah. So I'm gonna start learning those songs because Conan. As soon as all this is done, then we're back out there. So
Vaccinations in the van.
Conan, if you guys don't know, Conan Neutron and Secret Friends is our friend Conan, who played in Victory and Associates and Replicator, and I don't know what.
You should have asked him to do this.
And then he's got Tony Ash from Coliseum and Dale Crover from the Melvins.
Oh, awesome.
And that's the Secret Friends. And then sometimes cats like you get to play on tour.
Yeah.
John definitely plays.
I get to be Dale.
Or the Secret Friends.
So the fact that and Conan has a really cool podcast where he interviews everybody interested in music. That's why I didn't ask. I was going to ask Conan to do this too, but I figured he was interviewing somebody famous.
I know he does a podcast called Protonic Reversal. He's had who did he have? He had the besides Iggy Pop the other remaining member of the Stooges.
Yeah, the guitar player.
Which is
He had the guitar player.
Him on.
He had somebody else. He had what's the dude from Neurosis? Steve Von Till.
Oh yeah, but he's known him for forever since he lived out in the
It's also like it's a more music show. Like he gets people's like records and shit like that, like their catalog. Like I'll get into a little bit of your catalog, but I want to know other shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
When Conan came on my show, it was all about like Wisconsin politics. I literally forgot Body Farm was in a band. We were just sitting here talking shit about the vice presidential shit this long.
About taxes.
Taxes.
Okay, what I want to know is why no one has brought up that when he was governor, he denied the Clean Needle program, and then there was an HIV outbreak. Why hasn't anyone talked about that?
The worst.
Because he's responding in the same way to COVID as he did to that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why.
And harm reduction in clean needles. Like, let's just be honest. Like, that's one of those things that for the average person, it's like, well, why would you give them needles? They're just going to use drugs. It's like, well, what's going to happen if you just take all the drugs away tomorrow?
If they're just going to use drugs, maybe they don't die from it.
And also, there's a lot of diseases that come from needle sharing.
Yeah.
Like true story. In the shelter I was at, we had a partnership with HEPAC, which is a needle exchange people, right? And HEPAC would come once a week and they drop off all these needles. And, needles come in different gauges, different sizes, because depending on how you use, you're going to need different gauges of needles. I didn't know that. Right? So anyway, there was a girl that I worked with, and she was a former drug user and did not really like all the needles out. And I was like, well, hey, man, just you don't got to touch it. She was like, no, if they're just out here for people to take, people are just going to take whole boxes of them, and they're not going to take what they need. And I'm like, well, so? And she would take boxes of these needles, and she'd hide them in the back. And so one day the needle exchange people came, and they're like, hey, man, can you tell that person that keeps taking these needles and putting them in the back to stop doing that? Because if people see that there's a shortage, then they'll have a tendency to reuse or share. And that's really bad. And we don't want that. Like, we'll always give you more than enough.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah.
And like to hear it from that, like, I didn't really think it was a big deal. We kind of would tell her like, don't do that. But it really is a thing. Or people were, and they were like, or people are going to use the wrong gauge. Because they're just going to, and that's how people die sometimes. And I was like, whoa, like this shit's heavy. And that's not the conversation that the average, and I'm not saying it's a bad conversation to your point. I think A, Kamala Harris doesn't know how to have that conversation. B, Joe Biden definitely doesn't know how to have that conversation. And C, Mike Pence killed with that conversation.
Yeah.
And on that note, Body Farm's music.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and I was just going to say, we normally are pretty heavily involved with Unharming Ohio. I think they've expanded a little bit up in the northeast, but northeast of Ohio, Youngstown area, new East Liverpool area, top of West Virginia, right there, PA, are some of the highest using areas in the entire country. And so they push really hard for the Unharming Ohio, so unharming or harm reduction. Which is, the needle programs and things like that. And so, yeah, we've really seen that it does actually really help. And while less people get sick, less people die, less people have infections, less people that they die from, but also they have access to programs where they have, they're now around other people where they can get the information that they maybe want. And those things like lack of information or it being hard to get information or wanting that information and having no one to talk to can make people reuse again. And so just having that there was, I don't know what the percentage is off the top of my head, but I remember it being somewhere 30% of people using those programs where people would, they would see less and less and less people coming, to where they're doing the needle exchanges and having more people going to, rehab or getting at least the information that they need to move on from that addiction. Because most of those people are not like, what I want to do to die from this addiction. There's not. It's a symptom of a lot of other things. And so that's what's so nice about those kind of programs. And again, like you said, it's a conversation that none of those people are willing to have at all. And it's one that really needs. And I'm not a user. I don't agree with it. But why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't you help people that are in need?
When you're there, like kind of being in the middle of the shit, like I was in that place that I definitely have a lot of issues with. And also plug for the show. This is Revolution Podcast. I'm speaking with Christy Lovitch, who also has worked a long time with the unhoused communities in Southern California. And we have a very, very deep dive conversation about something that is known as the nonprofit industrial complex. And I really know what really went on in the shelter that I worked at. I really got raw in that episode when we talked about a lot of the problems with nonprofits in general and kind of the way we look at the system. But being in an environment where it's a big wet shelter, which is basically like I'm gonna take the hood, put it in this hotel. There's a lot of people with HIV, and I feel like in 2020, most of us don't really know cats that have HIV. And when you're dealing with the unhoused world, a lot of cats have HIV. A lot of cats are in the sex industry. I don't even say industry. It's like sex for survival.
Yeah, survival sex work, yeah.
And let's keep in mind, I'm not dealing with people in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s. We were dealing with motherfuckers in 50s and 60s. Yeah. Like, the sale of that shit doesn't stop just because you may think you're a little old. So the fact that these people could have actually protection was huge because, yeah. You can
to the point of like crossing the needle exchange programs, also bringing in people to utilize other services too that are offered. I was a development director for an AIDS service organization, and Jason, I could talk to you for hours about the corruption behind the scenes and nonprofit in general. But our needle exchange was an amazing program. It caused the biggest fight for funding in our state, though, against other AIDS service organizations when we're all just trying to do the good work. But because our programs were mobile, they'd actually get out there and get to the people and then bring them in to do, utilize the other services. So
clinics, a lot of times, a lot of those services that people don't have. And we're only as healthy and we're only as safe as the most vulnerable of us. And I think that's an attitude that we should try to echo over and over again. Just because we can barricade ourselves in our homes and get our groceries delivered and shit like that, we think we're okay for a little bit, but we are literally only as okay as the most vulnerable of us. And I saw that kind of day in, day out, that, you know, this population is a business. There is a business of homelessness. Let's not get that shit twisted. It's a motherfucking business. And I don't think the people in it are like these dastardly individuals. I think a lot of people get in it for the right reasons, because you want to help. But we live in a capitalist system where being nice really isn't rewarded. You're not really supposed to be nice in this system. And if you can find a way to make a couple bucks and help some people along the way, and it kind of the system just keeps repeating itself, right? We see that people go through the system over and over again. So are we helping people? There's a few. We're going to help a few. This will be some.
Mother Teresa preyed on the poor. I mean, it's just
right
across the board.
There's a business of poverty that I don't think no one likes to talk about, because again, if you give your sandwich to the homeless guy, or you bought somebody lunch, or you did your, obligatory Thanksgiving, I'm feeding the homeless, you pat yourself on the back and like, this is a wonderful thing, but you're doing it every year. You're not seeing a problem with that shit every year, and it's getting better. The line's getting longer.
Now with COVID, it's getting even worse. They're evicting everybody who can't pay their bills because we're all afraid of dying on the job now. So,
which is, I don't know. I know you guys have California ties still, John. I don't know how many California ties you have, and I'm going to keep doing this as much as possible till it gets in people's heads. So there is a bill in California called Proposition 22. To your point about bill paying, and Proposition 22 is something that was designed by Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart to keep their employees as independent contractors, because there's a law that got passed this year in California that said that those people cannot be looked at as independent contractors anymore, and they're going to have to be paid overtime, paid sick leave. You just get worker protections. So you can still work whenever you want to, clock in whenever the fuck you want to do that shit, but you just get worker protections for it.
No longer a contractor.
No longer a contractor, but you can still work whenever you want.
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft were so frightened they were going to shut down their operations in California. So they said publicly, we are going to spend $110 million collectively to come up with our own bill to get around this. And they are spending gajillions of dollars in advertising, basically saying that if you vote yes for this proposition, you will keep your status as an independent contractor, and you will be able to make more money with our bill as an independent contractor. And what they're saying is, if you drive so many hours a week, you're going to get paid at least minimum wage. Well, California minimum wage is different city to city. So the Economic Policy Institute found with Proposition 22, the minimum wage you would get is $5.64 for an 8-hour day. You have to drive for so many hours to get $5.64 an hour. So to take away your worker protections, right, that people have fought for in California so bad that the Attorney General in California was like, I'm going to sue Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart because of what they're doing. This is a huge case because it's going to have a ripple effect for labor in general, and the way we look at contracted workers and the way we look at actual workers. So if you guys have friends in California, tell them to definitely vote no on 22. We need to keep the little labor protections that we have.
Posting that shit right now. Just give them a loophole to say, oh, well, everybody's an independent contractor. And then that's how we get away from paying a living wage, paying for, like you said, worker protections. If there is, the healthcare mandate, anything like that, it's just like, oh, well, no, you're all independent contractors, McDonald's guys, or like whatever, and that's how they're going to do it. And it's all going to be app-based pay. Hey, you get paid daily. What's wrong with that? Aren't you stoked on that? You get paid based on how many burgers you make. It's easy. You just have to make 40,000 burgers a day to make minimum wage.
And just to give an idea about how much labor you put into what you actually get back. I believe there was a Starbucks employee that made, I think it was like $10 an hour, and was it $400 a week, right? That's what he's going to make. He rang up $1,500 worth of sales within the first 45 minutes of his day. So he's generating way more profit than what his labor is paying him for.
The entire system is built that way. Yeah.
Like when I was a hairdresser in California, for example, we were independent contractors. We had to have permits in order to be there. We had to go through schooling, which cost me over $10,000 plus whatever interest I've accumulated. And then I would be there for like 10 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, since I was an apprentice, I was paying half of what I did on each service to the salon to have my chair. So I wasn't making $10 an hour even when I was doing that kind of work, and I would be on my feet all day long.
But you know what though? It's you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But that's where all that comes from. It's exactly it. You're in America. You know, you gotta walk to school in the snow both ways and pay your dues. And if you keep doing that long enough, you're gonna work your way up, and you know that never happens. That only happens, like stuff like that only happens for people who are proverbially born on second base. You know, so then the bootstraps work because you know you're already in position. But I feel like like truckers, like a lot of jobs. I feel like it's just another back to what I was saying, you know, about how we treat other countries. That's another pillar of this country is that your own sweat and you know your own blood and sweat, you know, will rise you out of this poverty, and that's all a farce. It's all a farce to keep you going, to keep you working. That's why unions were so important. You know, that's why striking down propositions like Prop 22 in California. That's how important that is. But it just goes to show you that no matter how much you chip away at that, there's always something coming up behind it to reinstill that. You know, it's amazing.
That you should work harder. Yeah. Like, what does that mean when you're a hairstylist? If you're a hairstylist, you're an artist. Yeah. If you are putting in the work and you honed your craft, what's the extra work you need to put in?
What do you have to do? Just start putting bowls over people's heads and next. That's ridiculous.
And the way they do it, the way that it's set up too, is that there are just enough people that do succeed that they can say, look at that guy that could be you. You know, that's one person. Literally one person.
To more assholes' hair. Because they pay more. Assholes pay more. So just cut more assholes' hair.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole setup, and that's what keeps us working, and that's what keeps us, you know, I have to, like, I got a COVID test on Monday because I have some procedures tomorrow. I might have asthma, whatever. But anyways, so I had to have my health insurance card, and to have my health insurance card, I have to have a job, and I had to have my license and my ID, and I had to have my procedure paperwork just to get my COVID test, just to know if I even have COVID. So it's just, that's the county I live in Ohio. There's not like, there are these little ones that set up like once or twice a week, but otherwise, like, that's the only way you can get a COVID test. And you have to either be having a procedure or be like, I'm dying of COVID. Can you test me, please? And that's if you don't feel like you have it, they won't test you, and that's it. Yeah. And it's
all these barriers that you have to have and go through.
So it keeps you working so that you're always working harder. But look, I might be the Jeff Bezos, or I might be successful one day. I might be a billionaire, and so I definitely don't want to vote for new taxes because Mike Pence told me no new taxes, and then I might be rich, and that will be taxing me, and I can't do that. And that's how they do it.
It's very frustrating.
It's what are you gonna do?
Well, look, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys hanging out with me.
Share the Prop 22 thing right now.
I try to end on a good note, but this is the best note I'm going to end on. And you tell me if this is a bad note. You can send me a message if I'm an asshole. Please, I am putting a link up one more time to Body Farm's music.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't put a link up to any of the Conan stuff because I didn't figure he'd pay you, John. I'm totally lying. Totally lying.
Conan might be watching this, so you know.
I know. I'm fucking with you.
You might be out of the rotation.
Thank you guys for taking the time to talk shit with me for like 2.5 hours. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. There's a link on here to Body Farm's music, Conan Neutron, The Secret Friends, live. Tyranny is Tyranny, but there you have still stuff up online, right?
Tyranny, yeah, it's all on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Stuff. I sent a message to send me a link, and he didn't want to send me a link to any of his music.
What?
I did. It's on the private chat.
Oh shoot!
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get for looking.
It is.
But thank you guys. Please, if you can, become a patron. You'll get bonus stuff. You'll get what else do you get? We're making new content. I have to keep pitching this because eventually I'm going to get these guys on the show. Left Click, which is a collective of artists and animators. We are making our own animated series called Revolutionary Histories that are going to be told by different people. Right now we have Professor Ken Hammond, who is an expert on East Asian history or Asian history. I forget exactly what his doctorate is in, but we did a show about debunking China myths, and our first animated series is going to be the rise of China in 2-minute animated clips. Also, another one of the people in the clique was a writer on Robot Chicken. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be extremely informative. We're going to have histories on Hugo Chavez and the Bolivarian Revolution, Castro and Cuba, Monopoly and the tech world. So I'm excited about it. Become a patron, and it's going to be definitely a patron-only program. Thank you guys very much for doing this with me.
Yes.
We got to do this again.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to hit you up with more notice, but it's fun hitting you guys up last minute anyway. John, have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Nice
actually,
to hang out.
Brown family. Brown
nice
family.
to meet you.
Brown family. The whole Brown family's in here.
Almost. The dog's even in here too, and she's sleeping.
Yeah,
I'm gonna teenager next time. She's fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
y'all. We are out.
Okay. Take care.